Good morning, everyone. Diana Minotti with Diana Minotti Fine Art Antiques and Collectibles, and we are here with our show, Diana's Treasures. It is a day in the life of an estate appraiser and liquidator. My co-host, Perry Mitrano,
Yes, that's me. I'm here. And
and we are licensed Florida auctioneers.
okay. And we are located at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in Palm Coast, Flagler County, Florida, 32137, in case you need it in your GPS. So give us a visit. It's 5,000 square feet of treasures, and these are fine art, antiques, and collectibles. These are items that sometimes Diana handpicks specifically to come into the shop. So, and you'll hear Diana call the shop a gallery. I call the shop a shop or a store, but it is our retail location, and everyone is welcome. Come give us a visit. Let us know that you heard us on the radio, so we know you're listening.
The best thing to do is to go to dianafineart.com and subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get all the inside information of the sale of the weekend and what house we're in and what the collections there are and what are new arrivals at the gallery. You can also scroll down to the bottom and see our eBay store. There's a button for Poshmark and YouTube where you can see these podcasts, our Instagram page, and Twitter. So it's all right there, dianafineart.com.
And specifically the eBay is very much vintage. And like if you're really looking for unique items, that's a great spot to go to.
So why don't you introduce our very special guest today?
So we have someone I actually know about 15 years already. I met you when I used to work for the city of Bunnell as a solid waste director, and you were working at the bank. You were the vice president. You were the big muckety muck guy, and they were borrowing money to start their trash service. And I got introduced to you, and you said. I said, how, he said, you said, how much money do you need? And I said about 685,000. And you said, oh, is that all? Why don't you add another truck to that? It was really great. That was fun to do. And I've known you ever since. And you're a really nice guy. Garry, tell us about yourself and where you started, how you ended up doing the Songwriters Festival.
Oh, boy. Well, I just retired at the end of September after 48 years in banking.
Congratulations.
And the last 8 were great years with South State Bank, and before that I was with Prosperity Bank here in town. So was in banking here for close to 18 of those 48 years. And before that I was moving company's top prospect, and we moved 7 times in 13 years with different corporate moves. So but yeah, we moved all around the country, but my wife's originally from Tampa, and I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and college taught me one thing was get out of Buffalo and head south back in 1979. So that's kind of a quicker synopsis. But on that journey of my banking career, I spent about 6 years with Nations Bank, Bank of America in the Nashville area. And so as a result of that, I'm a guitar player and enjoy music, and always paid attention to the words of songs and listened to the stories and things like that. And had a 6th grade teacher that taught me to listen to the words. And I guess as a result of all that, that's really where a lot of this came from in terms of wanting to think about starting a Songwriters Festival here. And actually, I started floating the idea with Terry Turner and David Ayers back probably 2012, and they looked at me like I had 2 heads on my shoulder. And yeah, that's a nice idea, Garry. Go away.
Surprise.
No, but we then I invited David and John Walsh from the Observer at the time in the fall of 2017 to Canopy Walk, and we were doing what they commonly call house parties. And we had a couple of songwriters there, Tom Shepard, who we became friends back in my Nashville days, back in the mid-'90s, late '90s, and early 2000s. And Tom was there with his wife, Coley, and they were telling the stories behind songs. And Tom had a couple of #1 songs, and Coley had some hits herself. And he wrote Redneck Yacht Club and Rhyming with Private Malone. And so as a result of that, David was there and John was there, and it was like the light bulbs went on. And they were like, "Oh, okay, now we understand what you've been talking about." And so they looked at Tom and said, "Well, how hard would it be to start one of these?" And that's basically what we did. Was we it was conceived at Canopy Walk in the fall of 17, and by the first part of 18, we were coming up with the exact dates, and we went out there in May of 2018 with 9 hit songwriters, and nobody knew what they were here in town, and we didn't know what we were doing when it came to. I'm not an event planner, and so we were literally putting together. We didn't even have flyers or anything like
Well,
that.
you have a guest
You know.
event planner here in the back there. She's sitting back there out of camera.
Now, but back then,
Heather
we
Thompson,
weren't.
right? Heather.
Yeah, so
HD
basically,
Productions.
Yeah, exactly. And so, as a result of that, really, we put it together. We had a free show at the Friday night event that they did in Flagler Beach. Then we had a Saturday night event, and it was all free at Daytona State.
So these are like events throughout the area, right? I mean, there's other, but
Yeah,
but can you?
yeah.
Diana and I were talking about this, and maybe Diana can chime in. So there are multiple songwriter festivals throughout the region, right? Is that
Throughout the country.
Wow.
For that matter. I mean, the biggest ones, what's funny is right now, the biggest ones I'll say are Tin Pan South, which was, to me, one of the original ones, which is in Nashville, and they've got like 300 songwriters that perform at that over the course of five or 6 days.
That is the Music City, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and most of them live there.
Right.
The next one is probably Key West, which has been around now since 1995, so it's going on 30. This will be 30 years, for them. So that one goes on, and then there's a big one in the Panhandle called 30A that's usually in the January, February timeframe. I forget exactly when, but it's really big up there. But what was funny was a couple of weeks ago I Googled what's the best songwriters festival, and AI came up and said for songwriter enthusiasts, the 4 best to go to are Tin Pan South, 30A, Key West, and Palm Coast.
Wow. Well,
And all of those are like 25, 30 years old, and we're or more, and we're 7.
so before we go any further, tell us where does a person get tickets for your event? Are they sold out? Is still any left?
We're not sold out. We've got good single day tickets left, and we even have roughly 50 4-day passes, which is really a deal because you end up, if you were to go all 4 days, you'd end up saving yourself about $75.
And how do you
by
get
getting
them?
the 4-day
How do you
pass?
get
Go to PalmCoastSongwritersFestival.com.
Easy enough.
Yeah,
Easy enough.
And
Diana?
that's where it is.
What has been the biggest surprise talent that's come out of these shows? Has there been somebody that something surprising came up, or?
I think it wouldn't be an individual per se as much as it would be the reaction of people that go to it for the first time. That's probably one of the rewards that we get because we knew we were bringing talent here to the community the first year. People didn't realize how talented, because you don't know the songwriters. You know Tim McGraw on the radio station, or George Strait, or any number, Carrie Underwood and all that. You don't realize how many of these people are either writing the songs for them or helping them write the songs. And so the biggest reaction is I didn't realize how little I knew. I always thought it was the artist that was playing or singing the song on the radio. That was the person that wrote it. And I mean, even I'll go back to my Monkees albums when I was a kid. A lot of people don't realize Carole King wrote a bunch of those songs.
No, I had no idea.
Neil Diamond wrote "I'm a Believer." Okay, and so when you take a look at that and you start to realize, and even with the Eagles, as great as songwriters as Glenn Frey and Don Henley were, they weren't the only songwriters. There were other people. Jack Ingram is the one that wrote "Already Gone" and "Peaceful Easy Feeling."
Hmm.
And but you start to realize just the talent of all that. But that's probably the part that I think that jumps out for me is how people, the fans, react when they go to it. The second part is sometimes they're shocked at how talented the songwriters are at performing and singing the songs.
What other questions you have for him?
Well, we were at an event yesterday, all three of us, and funny enough, someone was talking about, oh, I'm going to be part of that festival. I'm going to be busy. It's going to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, there's like 12 different states of people coming from 12 different states coming to this event. So
Actually, more than that even. But yeah, it's at least more than 12. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
But still, we've got California, Texas, New York, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee,
so the TDC must love this
Carolinas.
event. Puts
Oh yeah,
heads
yeah.
in beds, right?
Heads in beds, yeah, easily.
They talk about that. They talk about how we need industry. This is an industry. At the end of the day,
It is.
it's an industry. Even though it's a 4-day industry, it's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
To bring in, because we need all the revenue we could get outside of taxing the hell out of all of us that live here.
Yeah,
That's for another show.
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
We're excited to go because this is also the unveiling of the expansion and the renovation project at
Yeah.
Daytona State College. I mean, this must be very exciting.
It is. We're a 501c3 organization,
Mm-hmm.
and so one of the things that we've tried to do over the initial 6 years of our festival was, one, run it financially sound, which we have been successful at doing. The second thing is we have identified organizations that we now try to raise money for, and we've been doing this for several years now with a few, and then we've added a couple here in the past year. We started off with Daytona State College Foundation, of course, because that's where we're doing the event, and so we contribute. We've been contributing the last several years $6,000 to the Daytona State College Foundation.
And what do they do with the money?
They use that for scholarships.
That's great.
To the Mike Curb School of
That's great.
Music,
Which
Entertainment,
we
and
were
Art.
we were just looking it up, and I never heard of the Mike Curb School.
Yeah,
So-
Mike Curb. If you're not familiar with him, Google him one time. You'll think you just Googled Forrest Gump. It's amazing what Mike Curb has accomplished in his lifetime, and he owns Curb Records. Started it when he was very young. I mean, he's the guy that signed Tim McGraw and
Wow.
Leanne Rimes to their first record deals. But he also was a session musician at one time for the Beach Boys.
Get out of here. Wow.
He was lieutenant governor for Ronald Reagan in California.
Very unassuming name, I
Yeah.
just have to tell you.
so he's just an amazing individual, and his foundation actually is our presenting sponsor for the event now. I think this is the third year in a row that they've been our presenting sponsor.
So if you go to his school, is it you're learning music or the business of music?
Yeah,
or-
the business, multiple aspects of it. There's sound production. There's a lot of different aspects to it. But also, too, he's a big benefactor to Belmont University up in Nashville as well. And some of the people that run the school down here came from Nashville. And so there's a direct connection there, too.
So what are we going to see when we get to Daytona State College? Did they add rows or?
Yeah, well, you're going to see several things that happen. One is they extended the roof line both in the seating area as well as towards the back part where the artists kind of hang out in the green room and then come out. It was kind of exposed, halfway exposed. Now that's more covered, but also we have extended roof seating, so now you can get upwards of around 550 seats undercover reserved seats. And then also plus the sponsor table. So you can get about 700 people undercover now at
That's
this
good.
facility.
It's much more comfortable like that.
Yeah.
Especially with the heat around here.
Yeah,
in
and then,
summer.
but for the people that love to bring their lounge chair and all that, we still are going to have a grassy knoll area that you can go to. And that area needs some, we're still going to be regrading some of that with the renovations and all that, but still, it's an incredible area, too, for people that want to experience that. The other thing is the enhanced lighting systems and sound, electrical piece. The sound side of it is going to be really enhanced quite a bit.
That's awesome.
And we have great sound production people too, though, that come in and then they take advantage of what with their equipment. Then, of course, the other part of it is in the past, if you wanted to go from that building, which actually the building around the amphitheater actually houses the nursing school, where we have a bachelor's program for the nursing school at Daytona State. I serve on their board of trustees as well, so that's why I say our. But now, in the past, you could only go one way. And really, it was more made for golf carts to go from there over to building 2 or 3. Otherwise, you'd have to get out on Colbert and go do all the loop around on Palm Coast Parkway or loop back around and all that. Now there's going to be a two-way road that connects buildings 2 and 3 to where building 1 is.
Well, really good improvements, and that helps out with the whole routine.
We're really happy to help sponsor. We'll be delivering you furniture for your
Yes,
green
thank
room.
you.
A little comfy, cozy couch, a little vanity area.
That's what I heard.
Check out what you look like before you go out.
It's time.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
It's time. It's time for the most exciting part of the show. Okay, it's show and tell. It's my favorite. Okay, because as a kid, we all love show and tell, right? And we always like if the neighbor puts a fence up, we all want to look over and see what they have. So because that's what we do. We like to be nosy, right? So show and tell. So we have a bunch of items that we have in the store for sale, and we're going to start off with well, first of all, let me just throw some crazy tidbits out there. This is the highest selling memorabilia. Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged guitar, $6 million. John Lennon's $2.1 million album of his guitar. No, not his guitar. I forgot what it was exactly.
The LP.
The LP,
it's
yes.
signed.
Bob Dylan's $2 million for Like a Rolling Stone. And Jimi Hendrix, 1968 Stratocaster, $2 million. And Michael Jackson's Red Jacket, $400K. So those are just memorabilia. You don't know what a person collects. So when they do, sometimes you're surprised at what it is. So on that note, I'm going to just start off with. Then we're going to look at your stuff right away.
Start off with Elvis.
I am, but I just want to show this. This is a Kiss. Can we see it, Mark? Good. This is a Kiss Christmas ornament. I'm going to put it down out of the way right now. All right, so we're going to start off with Elvis. Okay, Elvis. We have for Elvis, we have this great book, a 2-set book, and in here is. I'm only going to take out one.
It's a 2-volume set. One of it is an all black and white of all of his stage performances, and the other one is color, and it kind of goes through his lifetime.
Yeah. So what's important to know, number one, is actually Elvis was a blonde. Okay, and that's always been his mantra. That beautiful black hair. So he is. Anyway, I don't want to ruin everybody's thing by saying he's a blonde. But anyway, this is for sale. It's in the shop. We have a fairly good price on it as well. So this is something you want to see. This is 2-volume set, and it's on sale at $80, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me
Make
get
an
this
offer.
out of the way. Okay, and then we have some CDs for Michael Jackson. Okay, CDs are still popular, as crazy as it may be. Okay, and then let's move on to Kiss. We have Kiss here. Oh God, what a big pile! All right, if anybody has one of these anymore, VHS. Okay, we have them. We have some CDs for Kiss. Kiss is still very popular. I mean, it's
Come on, Kiss Army.
yeah. I mean, then if we have some books in our library. We have an extensive library at the shop. Okay.
Well, there's no bookstores anymore.
No,
Even the book rack has gone out. So really from St. Augustine, from the Barnes and Nobles. And is Books Million still in Daytona? I don't even
I
know.
don't even
The
know.
aquarium is there. Or no, that was the.
Then we have Def Leppard, okay, their album and their book.
These
Uh,
these are programs from concerts,
okay,
concert programs.
yeah, there you go.
Some of them we have are signed.
And Led Zeppelin,
No, that I think is a songbook
and it might be.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Looks like it.
So,
Yeah.
because
No.
we've had in years
Cool.
past. I mean, we have guitars, we've sold amplifiers, um,
and I've said this before.
had
I can't.
flutes.
I can't read music. The only C note I hold is a $100 bill, and of course we have the Ultimate Kiss album
It's a tour book.
tour book, which is pretty cool because it has their pictures of they're all freaked out on stage. Oh, I think that might have been the broken.
You bought it.
Yeah. The broken Christmas ornament. Anyway, let's get that out of the way. Then we have Def Leppard. Now, isn't this the band with the drummer lost an arm?
Yes.
So,
And this was my favorite LP, and I went to the car wash, and they stole my CD out of the car.
kind of dating
Back in
yourself
New
there.
York.
And this album, this little booklet right here, because it's original and because it's the original band members, it actually brings a pretty good penny. And I think we have it on the shelf for just $15, but it's just a book, and it's really interesting. People
That's
love it.
what we encourage folks to, we have people that pop in every couple of weeks, once a month, every time they're by. We have folks that come to the gallery whenever they're visiting their mom.
Whitesnake, a little bit new genre, but they were big and popular back in the '80s, right? '90s.
You never know who you're going to find or what you're going to find.
And the last one, the most exciting one, was the Bon Jovi original album, which was they considered risque in some way, and they decided to nix that picture, and they went with another picture. What was the album picture?
Well, Anthony tells me it was a garbage bag that was wet and it had their name in it, but this was supposed to be the initial cover. So this program actually is kind of collectible.
My friend Pat Rasconi used to work for a big radio station, and Bon Jovi was one of his bands. I actually got a signed picture from him for my niece, Marcy. Okay, and then
So this is from last week's sale.
Your turn.
One of the gals. No, you could show them.
well, I'll show
just
him.
talk
Yeah,
about it.
Go ahead.
So this family, the daughter was just in love with Backstreet Boys, and so our boy bands, it was New Kids on the Block and Backstreet and NSYNC and what was it, 98 Degrees, the guys from Miami. There was so many different boy bands, and so these are all programs or magazines that they're in, and don't. That's the one that's worth a lot of money.
Are you kidding me?
I think so. Look on the inside.
No, we have $10
All
on
right.
it.
All right.
This
Well,
isn't-
easy. On one of them is we're going to put
Okay.
on eBay for about $90. So.
Well, anyway, let me run through these quick because we're going to run out of time before we know it. So, anyway, go ahead, keep speaking.
Well, I want you to show these because this is very interesting. I had no idea they were on Rolling Stone twice.
And this is what?
This is Backstreet Boys.
No, what magazine is this? YM.
Young Miss.
Oh, Young Miss. Yeah. Appealing to the young ladies of the
Well,
time.
Aren't they the ones with the cash flow of indiscretionary?
Yes,
funds?
absolutely. And there's a comic.
Who are we going to see as guests at the? What's the population or of folks that come to this? Is it young people? Is it older people? Who comes to these festivals?
It's a mix. I mean, you've got definitely a lot of the folks are, I would say, over 40, but there's a considerable number of people in their 20s and 30s too that come out.
Does I'm sure
as
the
well.
college must promote it and get the college folks in.
Yeah, we a lot of the students, some of them aren't able to because they're kind of in the midst of finals and things like that. But yeah, we well, one of the things we do try to do though is we try to raise money for different foundations. Besides Daytona State, we're raising money this year with the kickoff show for the Flagler County Education Foundation.
But Diana, before we get on to yours, we just have a short time left.
I know. I just want to real quick because these
That
are
could
come
take a
on, man.
while.
This is the K-pop
Oh, God.
generation. I hate to say it, but they're really bringing in the numbers. BTS is locally traded on the Nasdaq. They bring so much money to their gross national product for Korea.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. They even changed the military criteria. Every man has to join at a certain age, and it was 26. And with this band, they were going on tour, so they pushed it to 28, and then they made it 30 because they were still touring, and they bring in like 8 billion a year to the government. It's amazing. So we do have some K-pop. This is BTS, the boy band, and this is Blackpink, the girl band. And so these are CD compilations, and they have books on them, and it's pretty interesting.
Diana's favorite band, by the way. So now let's go. Let's move over to our guest, and let's see, what am I holding up right now?
That's the program book that everybody or most people will be able to get that come to the event, and outlines, gives you the bios and the pics on all the artists that are performing, plus shows you our sponsors, our great sponsors that are in there, because we've got a lot of community support from a lot of different sponsors.
So are you able to be VIP and get these signed by, will they?
Yeah,
will they do
well,
some-
there is an autograph page in the back, as well, so that people can actually utilize it here. You
Nice.
get a little bit of that. I also brought some flyers and posters. The one that Perry's opening up right there, holding up, is kind of like the general one that has a lot of song titles. This is for the kickoff show, where a portion of our ticket proceeds will go to the Flagler County Education Foundation. That's April 30th. It's a single day ticket for that, separate ticketed event. So hopefully you'll come out for that as well. We got Michael Ray coming in, who is recording artist and all that.
Very exciting.
These are memorabilia here. This is our 2019 flyer, just to show you how far we've come. When we had 14 writers in 2019.
May I hold this up?
And that one is the 21. That's when we finally got real posters made, was in 21. So that was we would have been year 4, but COVID made it year 3. But we do have a YouTube channel. If you want to check out what the festival's like and you've never been, you can go to the YouTube channel under Palm Coast Songwriters Festival and see a lot of stuff there. One other thing I want to mention too is on Friday night, Chris DiStefano will be performing, who's an amazing performer. But also that night we will be doing the auction of the for the Gold Star Mentors Foundation. We auction off a guitar. That what ends up happening is that those monies go straight to the Gold Star Mentors Foundation, which was formed by Brett Jones, who was one of our original songwriters, and unfortunately won't be here this year. He was diagnosed recently with brain cancer, and but he's recovering now, and we're praying for him. But we're going to have an autographed guitar by Tricia Yearwood this year. Last year it was her other half, Garth Brooks, autographed it. And what we do is we give them the proceeds. Brett founded that foundation out of respect to his brother, who was killed in Vietnam when Brett was 10 years old. And what he did was he took on the guitar as a coping mechanism. And unfortunately, his brother's son, Brett's nephew, committed suicide later in life. And what Brett realizes, there's loved ones of our fallen service members who either die in service or by suicide, unfortunately. And one of the things that he wanted to do was get guitars in the hands of those people and give them a coping mechanism, and then also give them guitar lessons and so forth. And so
That's really wonderful.
yeah, so that's one of the things that we try to do. Each day has something different. Early Learning Coalition, we have an autographed guitar that we raffle off with all the songwriters sign and autograph the guitar.
Wow, this is really quite an event. I'm very excited for this. This
Yeah.
is really going to be wonderful.
Well, I'd like to thank our guest for being here, Garry Lubi.
Garry with
Thank you.
2 R's.
Yes.
With 2 R's. Absolutely. Well, we're so excited. I'm glad that we reconnected. I haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah.
We pop in different organizations and we say hello, but we never get a chance to talk. And this was really quite an event. And Diana.
So we'll just as a wrap up, remember the new arrivals at the gallery in lieu of the singer and songwriters inspiration. We just sold that beautiful little French writing desk, but we do have a Victorian mahogany cylinder desk and an Asian rosewood knee-hole desk. So if you want to sit down and write some songs, they might be very, very conducive. And lastly, so our next estate sale is at 80 Pepper Lane, and it's called Neoclassicism. She's got lots of angels and all kinds
But that's
of
not
Romanesque.
that's not Easter weekend. That's
No.
next weekend.
No, this will air on Sunday.
Right.
So that following weekend is going to be 80 Putter, and then we're going over to 20 Elias. And lastly, the Estate Planning Council, the Fun Coast. The next meeting is May 15th. Our speaker is Nina Gelato, and she is CEO of Lotus Funeral Services, and she's going to talk about funeral planning. When is it a good time to have that conversation?
And all of this plays into our business, which is we help people through a difficult time when they're downsizing or when they decide they're going to move. So it's not always about an estate, but it does cater to both that. So it's time to say goodbye.
All right. Well, thank you very much, folks. And,
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Broach a day.
And Mr. Engineer, as usual, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.